Welcome back to Dragons and Spaceships. Today's episode feels intimate, quiet, reflective, deeply human. We are talking about Dream Count, a novel that explores the private interior lives of women navigating love, ambition, identity, and the stories they tell themselves about the paths they didn't take. This isn't a high-stakes fantasy. It's not a thriller. It's something quieter and in many ways more piercing. Because this book asks us a question many of us carry silently. How many different lives could I have lived? But for this week's trending pick, let's spotlight Book Boyfriend, a fresh, fun romance from the authors of Happy Ever After playlist. This story follows Juniper Young, a book-obsessed influencer whose curated literary life doesn't match her real one until she impulsively teams up with the brooding, charismatic Andrew Drew McKnight, a beloved actor who's just landed the role of her favorite fictional hero and promptly becomes her unexpected co-star in real life. As they navigate fake dating, press, tours, social chaos, and pre-existing emotional baggage, Book Boyfriend blends heartfelt romance with laugh-out-loud moments and a winning opposites attract energy. If you love witty stories with clever metafiction twists and a romance that feels both grounded and escapist, this one deserves a spot near the top of your TBR. Go check it out. All right, let's set the stage here. Dream Count centers on 4 interconnected women whose lives intersect across countries and continents. The novel unfolds through layered perspectives, each woman reflecting on her past relationships, ambitions, regrets, and dreams. The narrative moves between Nigeria and the United States, exploring migration, privilege, class, race, and the emotional architecture of modern womanhood. Rather than following a single dramatic plotline, the book unfolds through memory, conversation, reflection, and the quiet revelations that happen when we finally look honestly at our own lives. The dream count becomes symbolic. It's the tally of alternate futures, of imagined marriages, of different careers, of roads taken and not taken. Each woman in this novel wrestles with intimacy in a different way. One reflects on a romantic relationship that felt transformative and wonders whether it was real or merely projection. Another confronts the emotional compromises she has made in order to feel secure. And another navigates the expectations placed upon her by culture, family, and society. And through all of it, the novel examines how women are taught to measure themselves. By marriage, by desirability, by motherhood, by ambition. But what happens when those measurements don't align with personal fulfillment? The beauty of this novel is that it doesn't villainize the characters for wanting love. It simply asks whether love, as society defines it, is enough. At its core, Dream Count is about narrative, not just the author's narrative, but the ones the characters construct about their own lives. It explores the immigrant experience and the subtle loneliness of cultural displacement, the tension between independence and intimacy, the quiet pressure to have it all, and the ache of unrealized possibility. The novel also examines how privilege operates not in loud, dramatic ways, but in quiet, invisible structures. Who gets to dream freely? Who gets to choose? Who feels obligated to settle? And how do we reconcile the version of ourselves we imagined at 20 with the one standing in the mirror at 40? The author's writing here is contemplative and precise. The prose isn't flashy, it's observant. Dialogue feels natural but intentional. Emotional revelations come not through dramatic confrontation, but through self-awareness. This is a novel that invites slow reading. It asks you to sit with discomfort and to recognize pieces of yourself in these women, even when it stings. This book left me thinking about how often we evaluate our lives against invisible timelines. How many of our dreams were truly ours? And how many were inherited expectations? If you've read Dream Count, I'd love to know. Did you relate to one woman more than the others? Did it feel empowering or unsettling to examine those alternate versions of your life? And if you had to name your own Dream Count, what would it be measuring? But now it is time for our Dragon's Roar, where we spotlight a book you'll want on your radar before everyone else is posting reactions. M.L. Stedman, the author of The Light Between the Oceans, is coming back with a new novel called A Far-Flung Life, releasing March 3rd, 2026. This one is set in remote Western Australia, beginning with a tragedy on a vast sheep station that shatters a family and sends the story rippling forward through secrets, sacrifice, and the long aftermath of one irreversible moment. If you love sweeping, emotionally intense literary fiction, the kind that asks what the heart can endure and what we owe to love versus duty, A Far-Flung Life looks like a major release to mark early. So tell me, should we cover this one on the podcast when it drops in March? Dream Count is not about dramatic twists. It's about interior truth, about acknowledging that identity is layered and that fulfillment doesn't always look the way we thought it would. Thank you for spending this reflective episode with me on Dragons and Spaceships. Until next time, happy reading, stay curious, and may your TBR pile never stop growing.